I don't drink, but our trailer does. Let me explain. For the past week, we've gone to different Walmarts around the area and we looked for RV antifreeze. You cannot use automotive coolant / antifreeze. That's toxic, don't do that, that's stupid. We last had a bottle when we did our winterization video, but we, of course, you use that. Everything this morning, running beautifully, all the water we wanted, the heat, no problem. Then I've been noticing over the past few hours, our AC is constantly defrosting. It's constantly, the temps have dropped in here. And so the floor right now is somewhere around 48 degrees. That propane furnace is running, which is great. I mean, this is gonna keep this area nice and toasty. And then of course, this is kind of behind here, which just helps with radiating. And we have our tank heaters. But once I noticed that our lines were frozen and yeah, right now we got nothing, like it says we're at 50% fresh water. I don't know about that. That sounds like a bunch of horse poop, but we kind of realized like we need to empty the water. We need to get the water out of here because the only thing that's going to cause damage to this trailer is going to be water. Typically we'd use antifreeze. Go ahead and drain the hot water tank, which is probably the most sensitive thing, the most expensive thing to replace at least. And then go ahead and drain the fresh water, which that's coming out. And fortunately it's all an ice field out here. So whatever, not a big deal. But even opening everything up, can you guys hear that? Yeah, there it goes. This guy is hard at work trying to defrost. But even with all this heat, and now I've gone ahead and we put a space heater in here just to kind of warm everything up. And it's nice because we have this access right here, but why risk it, right? If we have access to water in the house anyways, we're gonna hit the road. We can refill if we want to down the road, but I think honestly, winterizing is our safest bet as of right now. Once the pipes froze up because of this, we're not playing any games. So we could use antifreeze. We can also use vodka apparently. So let's go ahead, and this should be easy enough, and we'll run these through the lines. We've got our water heater bypassed, that's empty. And then we'll go ahead, we got our hose in our gluten-free, that's excellent, no glutens for this. And we'll go ahead and bypass and suck the whole thing up. I guess it's kind of hard to smell vodka. A little bit in our toilet, and I can't tell if that's alcohol or not. Actually, it smells like rubbing alcohol, so then, yeah, probably. All right. Yeah, it smells decently like rubbing alcohol.
Hot and cold, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that one, we should have put dye in here. That's what we should have done. Libby's drunk. That'll keep her nice and toasty. We haven't taken showers in here, so it's just collecting dog fur, and yeah, I think that's good. And then this will also get down into the various tanks. And then this P-trap, that P-trap. I like having a simple rig because there's likely a P-trap under here as well if I had to guess. Or maybe it goes down to whatever it does. I like having a very simple rig. We only have 2 sinks to worry about, not like 2 full bathrooms and then like 4 sink, and then an outdoor sink and all this crap. So, okay, and then we'll run the hotline as well. Yeah, everything was just fine up until the point that the coils started freezing. Actually, I'll show you outside. I think I know why they're freezing. The water, sheets of ice, whatever, really no change at all. I don't know where that water went, but I suspect it kind of, because the driveway sloped, it just went over in the grass, so who cares about that? There's some kids enjoying the snow out here. What we're seeing up here, yeah, there's snow and ice accumulation around the coils there. There's not much you can do about that, I mean, it's just gonna keep getting, and that just gets colder and colder and colder, right? Taking the cold out of the inside, and then freezing up, taking the humidity as well. I am glad we were still able, that didn't freeze up or anything like that. We were still able to get that water out, and then yeah, the water tank's empty, so all good. That's the one that I'm most worried about because PEX line's cheap, right? PEX deals are cheap, even including that. But yeah, not the water heater. The water heater's expensive. Now I'll go ahead and shut this guy off. And without the air conditioner running, we are at 1,531 watts, which is actually more than we're getting from shore power of 14 amps. So we're assisting, therefore our battery is depleting. Kind of interesting. And if I go ahead and turn off this little heater, which I think this is a fair place for it. All right. That's got a little countdown. Not neat. That's cool. It's nice that we can borrow that. Okay, so it's fascinating. You see that 46 watts. That uses more power than the entire air conditioner. Just that little tiny unit, right? The I guess you call it a resistance heater. Does that fascinate anybody else? Huh. Okay, yeah, nice and toasty in there, which is where all the sensitive stuff is. But again, it smells like rubbing alcohol in here. Brr. You can see the ice is that's the part that matters. Not the snow, not the cold, it's the ice. Because that's the issue up there too. And really that's the danger when it comes to driving, is the ice, right? Or walking. God. I like started to trip and catch myself and my back is just, it's one of those days I'm like, oh, I feel so old. Or what at least I feel like getting old is, that's what people describe. Although, you know, it's really funny because some folks are like, oh yeah, I'm old, but they're like more nimble than me and it just pisses me off. I'm like, you know what I mean? Look how pretty it is out here. Isn't this nice? Nobody is driving on the roads out here. And I get it, it's like pure ice. Like it was sleeting last night or frozen rain or whatever you call that. And it's kind of funny because around the entranceways, it like adds up, like it kind of accumulates and it sort of blows in, sort of funny. But all of that, like nothing's melting, of course. The temperatures are just dropping. It is interesting because it says 12 degrees on the app. Like the weather app says 12 degrees here, but surface temperature, this is out of the sun. Let's see, that says 16.5, 18, 19, 20. Okay, let's check out the trailer. It did stay decently warm in here, very warm actually in here. No problems with that. That says 28 on the surface, 29 on the surface, 30 degrees now, okay. And this is 54 degrees. Do you guys see that? 50, 52, 53. What the heck? So there's a, hold on, let's check the other side actually. I mean, you know that, okay, 20 degrees here, 18 degrees here. Even on this side, there's like at least a 1 degree difference. Fun fact, it's cold. I think that just goes to show that if you want a rig for cooler temperatures, darker is better, right? For some reason, even on the opposite side, that might be kind of a fluke on the opposite side because there's no sun. There's like, I can't think of why that would be, that the temperatures would be so different. But on this side, where the sun is hitting it, yeah, it makes good sense. But like, obviously, in the summer, do you really want, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, darker is not necessarily better. But yeah, we had some condensation up at the head of our bed. We just gave that a little gap. No issue since, so no moisture there. We had some condensation at the window above that quickly kind of flashed off, so yeah, it dried out and we're all good. We ran just a furnace last night and thankfully it's working perfectly. I mean, it's wonderful. We don't, like, we need it for our comfort, but we don't need it to keep water lines or anything like that warm, so we're good there. We did go ahead and actually we took some extra fabric that we had and plugged the holes for the battery bay because those guys are pretty, like, I wish there was a vent down here so the warm air could make it into the batteries. We can just open the lid, worst case. I've been monitoring that. It went from like 49 yesterday to 42 this morning. So still above freezing, but kind of in the like, I'm uncomfortable zone. That's probably not a big deal. But I figured out one other place though, and I'm probably just gonna be me harping on this. But yeah, I am not a fan of this actually. Let me show you. So if we go ahead and take a look at this trailer and what perforations there are, what could cause hot and cold transfer, these are plugged up. So they're, and you can feel the difference on the inside. We know that. This guy, not really an issue. It seems decently well sealed. There is a leak on that somewhere, but we're not worried about it. There's no water in there. And it's still under that bench where there's not a lot of airflow, both positively and negatively. But right here and right up there, these two vents, I mean, there's just huge holes. This is for the fridge, right? So the air is going to get all the way around that fridge. Actually, we can test that on the inside scientifically. Oh, actually, I don't want to forget about this one. There is a vent here for the stove. I like having this vent, and you can close it, but that is a potential, you know, thermal weakness. So we can see the ambient just kind of hanging out in the air. It's about 61 here. And if I look over here on this wall, actually there's a space heater that's running under that wall, so this is not very fair. But let's say 61.4. If I look, the cabinet right above you guys, right above the camera, 59. So that's not terrible. The roof is showing 59.2, okay. And again, this is like based on an infrared thermometer, like how well does this work? I don't know. 55 above the fridge there, 56.3, okay. 55.1. And this just makes good sense, but if we go right on this plastic here, 52 degrees, right? We're actually like dropping 48. This is just around here because this piece is, it feels like plastic. It has kind of a stiffer metal quality to it. So I actually wonder, like this is plastic, I know that. No, this is metal. So this is a metal frame, it looks like. And this is plastic. So you have that thermal conduction, right? See 55, let's see, 56.7, okay, 51, like, and that just makes sense, right? And 49.4, okay. And then on the wall next to it, 52, 51, on the wall, oh, very interesting. On the wall against the fridge, 50.4, right? On the wall against the outside, 53? So, what does that tell you? I don't know what it tells you, but what it tells me is that the thermal envelope here is horrible. And we know this, like we already knew this, but it is a drastic, like when the outside touching wall is warmer than an inside, like there, you know, and to the hand it even feels colder right around here, and then over here, yeah, there is a, so, you know, that might have been like no shit Sherlock kind of thing. In fairness though, if we were running off of propane and not electric, it might also be a little different here, but I think it still needs to vent. So we don't want to like plug that up and just run it on electric or whatever. But all in all, with many trailers and RVs now, you only have a 12 volt option, or like with a lot of motorhomes, it's just residential 120 volt, like that is what it is, you just run an inverter. We got the dual mode, electric and propane, because we wanted to be able to boondock just fine. I'm kind of, you know, I think that for the thermal performance, that's a bigger factor than I thought, because you can, I mean, that heat is just escaping. Any heat is escaping, right? Right at the, and then the cold is coming right in. Yeah, even with the furnace right there, which is probably the best position for it, although then it might fight the cooling performance of the fridge, you know, whatever. It is what it is. So we are, you know, we're always thinking about what we could do better. The 12 volt fridge is the way to go. It's the only way to go, in my opinion. And now with Colt filing bankruptcy, in Dominic, I don't think they do two ways anymore. Could be wrong about that. I couldn't find one on their website the other day. So, you know, 12 volt might be the only way. So this might not be an issue in the future. But I know a lot of folks are like, hey, I want to go like no propane at all, which will save money, which is awesome. But, and I love our air fryer, though there are times where I feel a little more confident that we have the stove if we need it. We've used it less and less and less. You have this great thermal profile everywhere else, right? Except for maybe around the door, right? Because you have some metal. That is what it is. You have to have a metal frame there for rigidity, right? Everything else is great. The windows are wonderful, but then just two big ass holes right right there. Oh, it is what it is though. So now granted, a lot of people don't use their RVs the way that we do. So we full time, and if we were in the Pacific Northwest, this level, like we're down to like 12 degrees and it's supposed to get even colder tonight, which by the way, the storm hasn't, I expected worse, but if we were on the West Coast, it really wouldn't be that bad, you know, comparatively. If we're down in Florida, it really wouldn't be too bad, you know. So you could totally use this with water and we could still use our home. We'll just bring the water in and then we just run the propane furnace or, you know, a space heater in this case, which is really nice. Emma's mom is letting us use this little guy, although I don't think this has tip protection. Oh, wait, no, it does. Just kidding. Do you see that? How funny is that? Anyways, there's another sensor in there. You'd think there'd be just a little button, but yeah, we'll set this. We don't need it that hot in here, just above freezing. 64 is fine with me. But it is nice that even without certain features, right, like having running water is quite a luxury. You know, I know a lot of folks don't see it that way. I see it as quite a luxury. So, you know, and we've lived in rigs that didn't have heat. They didn't have running water. We didn't have a big old bed. You couldn't stand up in it, right? And you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, you figure it out. We're still really happy with our trailers. You know, long story short, and so, anyways, yeah, we will be leaving a little bit later than we expected. Of course, we wanted to leave yesterday morning initially. Then we're like, okay, we'll hang out for the storm because there's no, like, where are we going to go that, you know, is it worth risking an accident? No. But it sounds like we are still going to be here a few more days because everything's sort of iced in, and it's gonna be some serious work to not only get the rig ready and, you know, get detached from the ground because we have our aux blocks here and such, but also like looking at the road. Like we took a walk up to the main road. It's just not worth it. Yeah, it's not it yet. That's all right. We're fortunate that we'll be okay. You know, we could do it if we need to, but I think we'll be fine. We've left, really, I think it was like 2 weeks for travel time, but we only need like 4 days, practically speaking, if the roads are good. So we'll figure it out. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.